The world held its breath. A signal blinked. An alarm screamed through the silence. Missiles were inbound. 5 of them. From America, retaliation was the only protocol. The system was clear. The orders were simple. Launch. One man stood between protocol and oblivion. He watched the screen. The red warnings pulsed. His gut told him something was wrong. A first strike with only 5 missiles, it made no sense. It had to be a mistake. A system malfunction. He gripped the phone, his hand shaking. He could start a world-ending war, or he could disobey. He reported it as a false alarm, a gut feeling against a computer's certainty. He waited that the minutes felt like lifetimes. Then, silence, no explosions, no fireballs on the horizon. The system had been wrong. He had been right. The world never knew it had been seconds from annihilation, saved by one man who chose to think. It's just past midnight, somewhere on the coast of France. The year is 1944. Tonight, the air is still, almost unnaturally so. The only sounds are the gentle wash of the waves against the shore and the whisper of the wind through the tall grass. For the soldiers huddled in their makeshift shelters, this quiet is a strange comfort, a brief pause in the endless noise of war. They check their watches, clean their rifles for the 10th time, and stare out into the impenetrable darkness over the English Channel. There's a feeling in the air, a tension you could almost touch. It's the kind of quiet that precedes a storm, a night like any other. Yet tonight, history is holding its breath, waiting for the dawn. And when the sun rises, the world will never be the same. This quiet, this single moment of peace is the last one they will know for a very long time. A single sheet of paper under a dim light, the clatter of a typewriter key striking the page. One final time. The message is short, almost routine, an administrative detail in the grand chaotic machinery of war. Coordinates are listed. A time is set, resources allocated. A simple directive, just another task to be completed before dawn. No grand pronouncements, no soaring rhetoric of victory or sacrifice. Just a quiet order, signed and stamped in the dead of night. It will be carried out without question. Its consequences will ripple through history, yet its origin will remain a whisper, a ghost in the archives. This order will never be officially acknowledged. It does not exist. It never did. The year is 1944. Deep behind enemy lines, a single light cuts through the darkness. Inside a cramped cellar, a radio operator hunches over his equipment. The fate of an entire resistance network resting on his shoulders. His fingers tremble as he taps out a coded message. Click.click-click. Each sound is a lifeline, a whisper of hope sent out into the silent, occupied night. He holds his breath, listening for a reply. The radio crackles, a faint signal breaking through the static. It's a confirmation. The message was received. Relief floods through him, but it's short-lived. Outside, in the suffocating darkness, a new sound. A single deliberate footstep on the gravel path above. Then, another they heard. They know. In the winter of 1944, deep in the Ardennes forest, a lone American medic, name unrecorded, stumbled upon a makeshift German field hospital. He was lost, separated from his unit during the offensive. Inside, a handful of wounded soldiers, both German and Allied, were being tended to by a single German nurse. Her supplies were almost gone. Her face was etched with exhaustion. For 3 days, the American medic and the German nurse worked side by side. They shared the last of the morphine, used his sulfa powder on her patients and her bandages on his. They didn't speak the same language, but they understood the quiet language of saving lives. On the 4th morning, a German patrol arrived. The medic was taken as a prisoner of war. The nurse, her fate is unknown. There is no official record of this. No commendation, no report, not even a footnote. Just a pocket of humanity in the middle of a war, a moment that simply was. And then, like so many other stories, it vanished as history marched on. The air is thick with smoke, tasting of iron and fear. The ground trembles under my boots, a constant, deep rumble. A voice, hoarse and urgent, cuts through the chaos, barking an order. My comrades move as one, a grim machine of green and brown. But my feet feel like lead. My breath catches in my throat, a ragged, shallow thing. I look down at my hands. They're shaking, not just from the cold, but from something deeper. A tremor that starts in my soul. My rifle feels impossibly heavy. Every instinct screams to follow, to obey, to become just another part of the advance. But a question, a terrible, quiet question, freezes me in place. Is this what I am? Is this all I am? The world narrows to the mud at my feet and the weight of the choice in my hands. A deep breath, my eyes lift, I move. April 26, 1986, Pripyat, Ukraine. Another quiet Saturday night. I was just a kid, 8 years old, staying up way past my bedtime. My parents thought I was asleep, but I was wide awake, watching the late-night cartoons with the volume turned down low. I remember my dad was snoring from the living room couch, and my mom was probably reading in her bedroom. Outside, the world was still. The only sound was the faint hum of the city. A stray dog barked somewhere in the distance. I remember feeling a little sleepy, my eyes getting heavy. I looked out my window at the sky, and it was beautiful. A strange, soft glow, almost like a rainbow, lit up the night. I thought it was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. I had no idea that just a couple of kilometers away, Reactor 4 had exploded. I fell asleep watching the pretty colors in the sky, completely unaware that our world had just changed forever. The ink on the order was barely dry. A last-minute change, scribbled in the dim light of a field tent as the sounds of the night pressed in from all sides. No one knew why. Not the sergeants rousing their men from a restless sleep, not the pilots being handed new coordinates. Just whispers of a breakthrough, a sudden shift, a different target. They were supposed to go east, but now the compasses were spinning west. They packed up in a hurried silence, the questions hanging unspoken in the cold air. What they didn't know was that this single, hastily made decision, born from the chaos of that one night, would redraw the future. By sunrise, entire lives, families, and the very lines that would one day divide nations were quietly, irrevocably altered forever. Thanks for watching. They say time heals all wounds. Looking back, we can see the events of that year with clarity and perspective. It was a time of unprecedented unity, a period where communities came together to rebuild and move forward. We made difficult choices, yes, but every decision was guided by the principles of safety and progress for the greater good. Records show a remarkable period of cooperation. The official narrative is one of resilience, of a people who faced adversity and emerged stronger, more connected. We remember the smiles, the handshakes, the shared sense of purpose that defined an era. But memory is a funny thing, isn't it? What happens when the official story is the only one left? When the pictures don't quite match the words, what do you choose to believe? What is the real truth? The next morning, the street looks almost the same. The baker's shop is still there, its sign swinging gently in the breeze. But the door is closed. The warm smell of fresh bread that used to fill the air is gone. Across the way, the little cafe where friends gathered for coffee sits silent. The chairs are overturned, not playfully, but with a stark finality. Children's laughter no longer echoes from the schoolyard. Only a lone ball lies motionless in the dust. The windows of the houses, once filled with light and life, are now dark, empty eyes staring into nothing. The people are gone. The sounds are gone. The life is gone. It wasn't just buildings that fell last night. It was a world that will never be again. The night of May 10th, 1941, London burned. The Luftwaffe unleashed one of its heaviest bombing raids of the Blitz. Firefighters battled the inferno, saving landmarks like St. Paul's Cathedral. For Londoners, it was a night of terror, defiance, and survival. But historians, decades later, uncovered something else. Something buried in the archives, away from the heroic headlines. The raid wasn't just a random act of destruction. It served another, more chilling purpose. The fires weren't just meant to break the city. They were meant to light the way. Not for more bombers, but for a single, lone aircraft flying high above the flames. Its passenger was Rudolf Hess, Hitler's deputy, on his secret, unauthorized flight to Scotland to negotiate peace. The city he helped set ablaze was his beacon.